Focal point is in the house. Robbie Barrow, how are you? Oh, like this, like the chat instead of saying hi. Welcome everybody. Simulation Talk 112. Mission Aha made it. Yes, you made it indeed. Good to see you. Carlito on TikTok is here. Hello, hello. I'm gonna let a few more people arrive. Today is gonna be a relatively short one because it's super late. I just wanted to pop in and say hello. Simulation Talk 112. What's up, Wiggy? I was just looking at you, and then I went live. That's awesome. Joanon is saying, Morning, Dan. Found the trailer to your doc, and I'm very intrigued. Thank you. Great morning, great morning. We have some members today. Welcome, guys. Good to see you. By the way, I don't know if how many new members we have, but the ones that I saw before, I created an email communication. I'm gonna find a better way to do this as the numbers grow, but at the moment, when the numbers is still small, if you guys don't mind, email, especially if you're new. I know you're not, Wiggy, but if you're a new member, I would email me to lasersimulationx@gmail.com and hold on, trying to reconnect on the internet here. Okay, hopefully it didn't jump off for too long. Reconnected to the internet, great. So if you're a new member, especially if you can email me and so I can have direct communication, so we can set up the Zoom calls, because all my members get 1 or 2 private Zoom calls with me a month together with the other members, and we also do private lives. So it will be much easier for me to communicate with you directly. Mission Aha is asking, why did the people advise you to leave the code out of the simulation theory? Isn't the code the point? Not sure what you mean by that. You're referring to people telling me that I should have not said the part about the numbers that appeared on the floor, maybe? Is that what you mean? That's different than not talking about the code. Yeah, the email would definitely help, because that way I can set up meetings with you. Thank you so much, Wiggy. But any member, that way I can put you on a list, and I know these are my... Now, when there's going to be a lot of members, then obviously I'm going to have to find a different way. Thank you so much for all the likes. Appreciate you. Focal point. But for now, this works. Cata Girl is in the house. How are you? Okay, let's do a quick intro. Welcome to Simulation Talk 112. This channel usually revolves around the simulation hypothesis. My name is Danny, and I'm claiming to have found actual proof that we live in a simulation. A few years ago, I've discovered that if you project a diffracted laser on the surface and you ingest a molecule that I cannot name here on the live chat, you will see code running in surfaces. This observation has now been verified over 1,000 times worldwide and has connected me with some of the leading researchers in the field, which was an interesting adventure. This is an ongoing conversation of back and forth of trying to substantiate and understand what exactly we're looking at, what is the nature of it. I have my ideas and I will express them. And we're meeting here every single day. We discuss the implications of the discovery, the experiment itself, how to do it, as well as science in general, religion, spirituality, philosophy, God, whatever comes to mind. I'm here every day. Unfortunately, at the moment, still we don't have a regular hour or a regular time of running, so with changing the time in which I'm going live at the moment every day almost. And also, it's not always the same amount of time, unfortunately, but we'll get there. We'll dial it in. Neo and John Wick is what I get so far. Good. Neo Wick. How's that? There you go, Aaron. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, so Mission Aha to your question, but I think you already understand that I answered. It's not quite the same as nobody told me not to talk about the code. People said that it's not a good idea to mention the way that I've arrived at my ideas because some of it involved kind of like seeing certain hints that were placed at the right place at the right time, which doesn't belong to any scientific methodology. But I think that catering to the way that we think we know things is not helpful because the truth is that we know things very often very differently than how we think we know them. And I think it's important to be loyal to the facts. So that's why I never removed that part from the story, and I think it's still very important to talk about it. But thank you for the question. Red pill or blue pill? Just take both, see what happens. Okay. I'm not gonna have a lot of energy today, too much time. What's up, ambient glass? Good to see you. But maybe we can shoot down some questions. Maybe people have some questions we haven't heard before. At this point, I'm having a hard time believing that because we've now, Simulation Talk 112. I feel like I've heard most types of questions, but I'm here to answer them and not to just gain new questions. And if anybody has a particular question, we can answer it. If not, we can think about what is relevant and important to most people in the chat. Yeah, the console, like I always say, I'm not talking about it until I put out the new video about it. I don't feel like I have too much new things to say, so I guess I'm reserving it for the video so it's not going to be redundant, and there's going to be a lot of new graphics as well. So that's where we stand on that. Welcome, everybody. By the way, to everybody on TikTok who are interested in a longer format of my videos, you can check out my YouTube channel, which is Dango Thoughts, DANGO Thoughts, in which I'm talking about the experiment that I've discovered, as well as some more deeply philosophical ideas about what the simulation really means. And I have some funny interviews on there as well. So you can check it out, or you can just follow the link tree in my description. And you can follow me across all platforms. It's Danny Goller on TikTok and Instagram, Goller Danny on X, Dango Thoughts on YouTube, and LaserX83 on Twitch. Who made the code? I'm not sure. Good question, though. Andy is asking, then gotta ask, were you always this calm and collected, or did something happen to you to make you more spiritual? Well, first of all, Andy, thank you so much for the compliment. I don't know if I deserve it. If you watch Simulation Talk 110, I think it was, literally the one before yesterday, you'll see that I'm not always that calm. I mean, I wasn't angry or out of control, but I can be spiky. I think when I lose patience with certain things that I deem corrosive to society, somehow that kind of that strikes a chord, and then I can be a little bit more edgy. But overall, yeah, I don't get too upset anymore. I think at this point it's pretty clear to me that life is a really beautiful thing, and I want to enjoy it as much as possible. And negative emotions are not really something that make you enjoy life. I do meditate on a regular basis. Maybe that's one of the factors for sure. I've done quite a few meditation retreats. I highly recommend them to anybody who wants to try. I personally, I don't know what to say, do. I do Vipassana. That's the form of meditation of my choosing at the moment. But it doesn't really matter. As long as it's a practice that you do daily and you take it seriously, it will definitely yield fruit. I think that one of the important things in this context of this question, because we're also talking on a chat in which people very often bring all kinds of ideas about what they think spirituality is, and there's this big tendency to kind of search for superpowers. People talk about, remote viewing and all this stuff. And I'm not saying right now the discussion is not whether these things are real or not real. I definitely think that there's definitely data there, and a lot of these things are possible. But the focus on them actually takes you away from inner peace. Because the truth is that you want to relinquish any need for superpowers or really any need for anything. True detachment is the only true freedom. I'm not sure if this was even any more in the ballpark of your question, but hopefully it answered something. Thought on the work of Jacob Green. Wait, hold on. Work of Jacoby Greenberg. Sorry if it's been asked. It's okay if it's been asked, but Jacoby Greenberg. If it was, I don't recall, so that's why I'll have to look it up. Oh, there was something. Is that the guy with the eye patch or something? So, yeah. I don't know enough about it. I think somebody did mention this before, and we kind of, yeah. I don't know enough about it. Sorry. I wish I could. I wish I would know more. Then I would comment more. Roll Z saying, could you talk about your OBEs and communication with alien entities? I missed it. How are you, Andy? Uh, it's my birthday today. You're talking about OBEs would be nice, a gift for me. Oh, oh my God! How can I refuse that? I mean, come on. Okay, now you're twisting my arm. Well, I guess we're talking about. I actually don't have a lot of out of body experience, or maybe we're defining it differently. If you're calling these altered states out of body experiences, then I guess okay, then I guess it is one. But I don't. It doesn't feel like one. And from what people describe to me, when they do have them, it doesn't sound like it's the same. I feel pretty embodied in my physical body, even though I might be some esoteric floating consciousness somewhere in hyperspace. But still, if I really pay attention, I do feel like I'm still in my body, and so it's hard for me to know if this is the same thing you're mentioning. But I think you're asking about just hyperspace in general. Is there any particular thing you want me to talk about in that space, or you just want a freestyle flow of something? I feel like I'm getting requests now. that that's incredible. Uh, QWiki is saying, I feel we are in a total recall situation. Have you seen the movie? I have seen the movie. Yeah. In what way though? Because in the movie, it basically forgets who he really was. In that sense, that we don't know who we really are, and we're waking up to figure out that we're all God, that kind of stuff. Okay. I'm waiting for your response, by the way, Rolo. If you tell me something more specific, or if not, then I guess I'll expand a little bit. Just take into account that today, right before you came, I said that I'm probably not gonna do the live very long because it's very late for me. But I will definitely give it a bit of a stab just because it's your birthday. How old are you, by the way, if you don't mind me asking, and if you don't mind answering? The documentary, Debbie's coming out in about, I said about 7 months. Aaron said about a year to, I guess, relieve pressure because we're planning quite big things for the movie. So I would say between 7 months to a year. If before, great surprise. What test did I do to prove the simulation? I mean, you can watch a lot of my videos, but in short, JBG, if you project a diffracted laser on the surface and you ingest a molecule that I cannot really name here, but you can watch my videos and you'll know what I'm talking about, you will see code running in surfaces. That combined with the fact that then I started interacting with what seemed to be I guess the simulators, for lack of a better term, and I've been shown directly that that's the case. So for me, that's the conviction. But the laser is something I can actually show anybody. Anybody can do it. It's relatively cheap. It's easy to do, and yeah. So a lot of it rests on that. But at the moment, working on a set of experiments that will probe deeper into what the code actually is, how we can interact with it, and all that good stuff. Top of the morning to you. I feel like I need a top hat for that. Okay, saying hello to everybody. Welcome, welcome. Good morning. Oh, cool. So let's see. Roll is saying yes about astral traveling, to be more precise. Yeah, so I unfortunately I don't want to disappoint, but I don't have a lot of experience in astral traveling. In fact, I have none. But again, I don't know if what people mean by astral projection, just being in one of these, like, higher heightened states. In which case, of course, I have a lot of experience with the molecule. So if you call that, I mean, that's you're talking about thousands of experiences. So they're literally infinite. And I'm not trying to be difficult. I just want to maybe dial it into something more specific. So we have a relevance, and I feel like I'm actually saying something that is of value to you. So I'm asking you a little bit more specifics. Why does this, let's ask it differently. Why that particular subject is close to your heart, first of all? Is this something you do yourself? Is this why this matters to you a lot? Second of all, why do you think that you want my opinion on it? These two elements will help me maybe construct something that is more meaningful to you. And being glass is saying, do you think the code could be a natural phenomena, or do you think it was intentionally made? Well, you mean did the conscious agent made the code, or was it somehow naturally arising from some natural state? I think what the word that is doing a lot of heavy lifting and confusing here is the word natural. Because if you would have a conscious agent that made the code, it would still be natural. It's all part of the natural order of things, right? Nothing outside of it. So this differentiation between conscious beings, intelligent beings, and what we call natural, that's just not a real separation. And I'm not being a smartass. That's an important distinction. I think that creates a lot of confusion in people, including some what I consider to be pretty terrible ideas, like people think that wanting progress is somehow bad or evil, and they call people transhumanists and things like that. This comes from this confusion, which people think for some reason that somehow the universe stops with what we are. This is the universe. This is part of what the universe is doing. Maybe the central thing of what the universe is doing. So, in order to truly answer your question, I think if you're asking, could the code just be one of these fundamental things that gives rise to everything else, including all the other conscious beings? Maybe. I don't know. It seems pretty intentional. That would be the short answer. But it was important for me to also make that, to draw that very clear distinction, so we don't confuse the word natural, and then make it as somehow a separate thing from what conscious and even intelligent beings are. They're also natural. Well, I've noticed two forms of code running since being able to see the code. One is the kanji numbers, and the other is more of a triangle and capital letters. Fascinating to see. Interesting. Thank you for sharing, Mishanaha. And by the way, I have to say that to me it looks a lot less like kanji and a lot more like katakana. This is why I'm saying. And actually, that difference is pretty salient to me. But it is interesting to hear that to you, it looks more like kanji. Couldn't agree more. But most people are way too deep into their character. Helps to zone out of that. Detachment is the truth. I think you meant proof, right? I mean, no, our consciousness is not in a body, but still, it feels like leaving physical body. I am 39 today. Well, happy birthday, Rolo. I mean, I know that our consciousness is not in our body, but still, OBE feels like leaving your physical body. It's close to my heart because I met some entities there, but never met on the molecule. And I'm assuming I understand from your comment that you've tried the molecule, you just never met beings on the molecule. Is that correct, Rolo? Then Nico is saying, "Dear Dan, have you seen my email letter?" I mean, Nico, I'm literally getting, when my videos are not going viral, I'm getting dozens of emails a day. When they go viral, I get hundreds of emails a day. So even though I'm sure you're wonderful and maybe your email was even very fascinating, even if I read your email, I won't know it was you just from the your handle here. There's no way. I am slowly responding to all the emails. I'm finally at uh, October 16th. It went back so far, it's crazy. Like and I'm just now finally answering some of the newest emails that I'm managing to see that are short enough to answer quickly, and then emails from today. I think the last ones I answered was October 16th. So be patient. I will I will get to to everybody's email. I promise I will. But there was just so many of them. Rolo is saying the etheric realm is as real as our physical, but you are not are conditioned by your physical body. You can fly, go through walls, and do other stuff. That is a normal realm would be possible. That sounds beautiful. I did hear people tell me about this. I've never experienced it. I've experienced a lot of very interesting things in the molecule. Never that, and never without the molecule. So I guess maybe actually you'll probably be able to comment more than I can, because if I have to, say what I see in the space, is that there's actually definitely what we would call external world, and it's objective, and everything exists in it. That world all by itself is conscious, so I guess you can call it the universal mind. But it's important to note that the separate minds inside of it, while they're experiencing their separation, they're just as real. To call, in my opinion, to call them Maya or an illusion, that's a confusion, because they are absolutely they have a reality to them that also matters in the grand scheme of things. How many years have you been? Again, I'm not really getting this information right now, but how many years have you been doing astral projection and experiencing these things on a regular basis? That's interesting. Private is saying I was sent to a future realm and back. I know I sound grandiose and crazy, but I'm telling you the truth. It was more accurate. Uploaded to a future realm. I was wide awake, and there was no catalyst. It just happened. I mean, I believe you. It sounds crazy, but I believe you. Less than differently. Where were you able to communicate in any way with those alien entities? Yeah, I see them all the time. Communicate to them like I'm talking to you now. There's a very, I guess, mundane kind of conversation, which is like, hey, ABC. Oh yeah, ABC. There's a very kind of, at this point, like a very simple conversation type thing going on. So I see them all the time, and the answer is yes. Never been them a molecule. Okay. I'm meaning to ask you, are you familiar with Jodi's and Enochian language? Let's see. John Dean Enochian language. Let's see images of that. I was not familiar with it, but no, the code does not look like that. It literally looks like Japanese. It's not, but that's the closest thing it looks to. The movie between 7 months and a year. I would love to meet them on the molecule. I have plenty of it, but haven't had any contact with anyone on it. Well, my question to you, Rolo, is if you see these beings when you astral project naturally without the molecule, why are you so keen on meeting them on the molecule? To see if they're the same beings or if it's the same space? That's a question. I understand that I just video of our brothers from a higher dimension. So, Nico. Okay. Okay. It's so hard for me to type what I would like to share with you. It's just happened to me on the molecule. Wait till Zoom. Okay, yeah, I would love to hear about it in Zoom. And if we, did you email me already so we can set it up? Also, I saw another comment here. I think I missed it. I feel we are in a total recall. Oh wait. There was another comment I feel you deleted. Oh, okay. That's what it was. You said 100% we are. It's refreshing to just know that I'm not alone. Yeah, I love this comment. 20 years. That is incredible, Rolo. Wow, that is amazing. So yeah. So my question to you: why are you so keen to meet them on the molecule? Have I asked them a meaningful question? Oof. Yeah. Sure, but they, as far as I understand, they cannot reveal any information that is applicable in your space. I believe that all the ideas that people they think they get from these higher spaces were not given to them by these higher spaces. It was their ideas all along. It's just that they got, I guess, they got confidence from these communications from the higher space that to think those thoughts. I think that's what actually is happening. From what I understand, there's actually, I don't know if it's a law, but they never reveal information. They never tell you like, hey, if you do this, this happens. That they can't do that. Um, what they can do is they can maybe inspire you to think in a particular direction, and then the thought will still be yours. But because that's the point. The point is that you are the thought manufacturing machinery. Yeah, agreed. I meant like, do you think the code formed like a crystal, or did a human make it? The beings you talked to made it. Yeah, I think the beings that I get to talk to made it. Yeah, Kazakh. Oh, there you go. I'm glad that we agree on that mission. This guy, this guy's awesome. He actually heard. Wait, He heard you. What? Wait, I'm confused. Are you talking about me? Oh yeah, don't talk about me like that. I'm not some kind of a, mega celebrity. I'm just a dude on YouTube. Rolo Z, yes, exactly. Maybe on Molecule, I would see them differently. In OBE, it's easy for them to pretend whoever you feel related to make communication with them easier. It seems that in Molecule, it feels more real. Yeah, it's true. Of course, I heard you. Top of the morning. Okay, good. Yeah, it definitely feels more real. I see what you're saying. And you never managed to do it, no matter how much you smoked? If everything is divinely orchestrated, does free will truly exist? I personally don't believe that free will exists, with or without divine intervention. Free will just doesn't actually it doesn't make sense as a concept because you're always somehow relying on previous states for the thing that you are to happen. Big A is saying this topic is about aliens. It sounds like not exactly. I guess aliens are evolved, but it's more about the simulation, what people call hypothesis. But I'm taking it out of the hypothesis realm and claiming that I found actual proof that we live in a simulation. So that's what the conversation is about. But we talk about all kinds of things. So sometimes it's kind of hard to know if you drop in the middle. Welcome, everybody. Nice. Okay, I think we covered all the hellos, I believe. I believe. No, not yet. Wow, there's so many to cover. Why can't you see the comments I'm talking about? It's probably because I'm commenting on YouTube. Because I'm also streaming to X and YouTube and Twitch all at the same time. And thank you for all the likes, by the way. I appreciate that. If you guys can actually like across YouTube and Twitch and X. That will also be super awesome because it definitely helps the algorithm. And thank you, TikTok, for all the likes. Okay, I think we said hello to everyone. Thank you. I'm grateful as well. Thank you for being here, Private. Thoughts on the school simulation theory? School simulation theory. Or do you believe this is some form of trick like David Icke believes? I don't know what the school simulation theory is. Do you mean that this is we are in school here, we're learning? I think, sure, you're learning all the time. Whether this is a structured school, that's a different question. I don't know enough about these hypotheses. Definitely don't think it's a trick. I tend to not really entertain any of these ideas that have to do with trickery or prison or any of that stuff. Not because it can't be true, it's just it's kind of pointless, you know? It makes you feel that you're a hostage, it makes you feel like you're a victim. It doesn't actually, whatever the situation may be, all you can do is to live the best moment to moment experience you can. And thinking this way, you definitely won't have as good of a time in this lifetime as you could have if you wouldn't think this way. Thank you so much, Clarity. Felt is a clingy fabric, so when I felt that, I really attracted the thought with my magnetism. Interesting. Good morning, Paris. Yes, like a spirit school, then our consciousness is here to experience and take things back to whatever source is. Yeah, I mean the story makes sense, right? It would make sense. My only thing is that, you know, when you do enough of these molecules, one thing becomes super clear, which is like some things can get very weird, in the sense that it's so bizarre that you realize that probably most of the concepts that we have about the world, probably none of it is true. Just because the types of things that are possible to both experience, to aim for, and all of that stuff is so infinite that it's kind of hard to believe that we would nail it with something that is related to what it's like to be a human, like a school or things like this, right? Thank you so much for the rose clarity. I appreciate that. So I tend to not decide these things or not to pretend that I know them. I had only 7 sessions on the molecule vape and more than 20 on Aya, but never saw any alien beings. Interesting. Yeah, some people, it just doesn't open up for them like that. Or maybe it might take a while. Mission High saying, you know, Ido, I am very naive, but it does feel that the fact that we have experienced contact with these beings was due to the fact that we have moral compass and are genuinely compassionate. I don't know. I don't know if that's true. I mean, I would like to believe that at our core we're capable of doing that en masse, but I wouldn't say that I think that the reason we're in contact with them is because we're compassionate. I think it just has to do with being able to allow it, like just to figure it out, basically. I understand, Jess. I understand the whole. Jess is saying, I find it hard to swallow and very hard pressed notion that free will does not exist. The choices I make, and the choices I make cannot be predetermined. I'm not erratic. Well, it's not about being erratic. It's about the fact that if you look closely at what it's like when you're making a choice, what is it that is making the choice? What is it that is flipping the switch from left to right? Now, you might think that there's some kind of a central agent sitting somewhere behind your eyes and making these decisions, but if you look closely, and really most forms of meditation, they're a form of noticing that, which is that when you look really close at what is it that is noticing, you realize there's nothing there. There's no one there. And because of that, there's no one to make the choice. The choices are kind of being made. It's just the world unfolding. And then there's an illusion of a central agent that is telling a story about why they think they're appropriating the story and making the choices. But it's always in retrospect. In real time, you're not sitting somewhere outside of space and time and going left, right, left, right. You're not doing that, right? There's no you doing that because there's no you. So, because of that, you can't describe a world coherently in which whatever state arises now is not somehow a product of all the previous states that preceded it up until that moment. So yes, it is. It's not so much that it's predetermined, because predetermined implies that again some external agent can look at it from the outside and say, I think I know what's going to happen next. Because we're saying that there is no such central agent in reality, you don't have, it's not even predetermined. It's just unfolding. And it can be random or not random, and it doesn't matter. The central agent is not dictating what the next moment will be. It just happens as a result of all the previous states. So you can never get out of this. It's not something that you can do, no matter what kind of world you describe. The idea that, well, somehow because it's really complex, somehow you do have free will, it's just insistence. It's just to say, well, we don't know what happens. It's very complicated. There's so many moving parts. Who knows? There must be something there. Well, no, because all of these things are doing is they're the sum of some parts, right? Even if the parts include some very fancy things in consciousness, these parts are still part of a larger system that is just doing a thing. And ultimately, maybe there is some kind of a, proto state that is kind of like the first mover, the first thing that makes. But even that, if you really look deeper, it's kind of an incoherent concept. The only thing that can potentially make sense is that these are linear models that rest on you having a mind, which is a linear mind. And maybe there is a state from which you can see choices as a real thing that is appropriated by what you would call an agent without having any central unitary function. It just kind of like, it's the state of affairs as it is, and that state of affairs is conscious. Maybe that can be somehow by some acrobatics folded into what you would call free will, but that would still not be free. Like, it would not be free completely from all the previous states that gave rise to it. So even that wouldn't be free. That's why I'm saying, no matter how you twist this, the freedom in the free will doesn't seem to be coming into the picture. Thank you for seeing the theory. I'm an Aquarius. If I'm supposed to go left, I will go right. Well, I'm an Aquarius too, but I don't know if that's necessarily the case. No, no matter choices made. Okay, I see. How did you get over the fear of the molecule pen the first time? Hypothetically, I have one sitting in a drawer that I haven't touched. I'm fascinated by the idea of all of this, but can't break the fear. It's a great question. I never had the fear, so I can't really help with that, I think. I don't know why. I always was just very fascinated by it and just wanted to go deeper and deeper and deeper. It's not necessarily a good thing. It's just the truth about my state. Now, it doesn't mean that over the years I never had experiences that what people would call not very pleasant experiences. But I don't know. The fear it doesn't accompany me for very long. It is what it is, you know. And I don't know. I'm kind of. I guess I'm decent at accepting that. Maybe that's what it is. I don't resist much. I think the resistance is what creates more of the friction. But I think what you have is a healthy respect for the molecule. Thank you so much, the Rockster. Anybody have any idea how to manipulate the code and manifest reality within the matrix? Same way you would live your life. Live a better life. How are you, Mikkel? You break code by breaking patterns spontaneous. I agree with that. I'm not joking. I have been back to the source where making movies we're all on the other side playing ourselves from our real home where we are beyond death. And oh my god, this word again. I can't say this word in a live chat. If you guys can remember to not type it, because I'm just gonna read it. And are so advanced technology. Sure, maybe. I've never experienced it, so I can't comment. But I understand. Resistance is assistance. To what? Let me put the code of reality. Okay, guys, I think. Apologies, but I think, yeah, I do need to get some sleep because I have an early start. And it's 4:30 in the morning for me. Thank you so much for joining. I will see everybody tomorrow. If you want to follow me across platforms, it's Danny Goller on TikTok and Instagram, Goller Danny on X, Dango Thoughts on YouTube, and LaserX83 on Twitch. I've also added a members program on YouTube, which includes, thank you so much for the heart, Jess, which includes conversations, private conversations with me. Thank you so much for the gifts on Zoom, personal lives aside from the daily lives, as well as content that doesn't exist anywhere else on my platforms, including stuff from my private life. And I'm working constantly on bringing up more things that will make it worth people's contributions. And if you have ideas of what you think it might be, I'm very open to them. If you would like to see particular types of content, maybe we can break down theories or papers together. Maybe I can bring some interesting people to the panel. Any things like this, I would love to hear from you. In any case, I really appreciate this community. My only social. Awesome, Jess. Well, I have a members program here on TikTok as well, and I will include all of these people also in the Zoom meetings, and maybe we'll do them separate just so people feel like I'm giving them more personal attention. And again, this just allows me to focus on these projects more full time so I can bring you more good content and yeah, allocate more attention to it. But I do appreciate all the members that already joined, and I do appreciate all the people that show up for these chats. You're giving me your time, which is very valuable, and which means you're considering what I'm doing valuable. So I appreciate that. Thank you. And that's it. So we'll see you guys tomorrow. Did I forget anything? No? Oh, tomorrow we might skip. I don't know yet, but I might skip one day just because I have a very early flight, and depending on how I feel in the end of the day, might want to get a little bit more rest. We'll see. Maybe I won't skip. In any case, codeofreality.com is the website if you want to check out how to do the experiment, including the laser and the protocol. My email is also listed there. Once again, it's codeofreality.com. Gave you all the other handles, and on TikTok they also exist in my link tree on top. That's it. I think I'm rambling at this point. So, peace and love, everybody. Good night. Ciao. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate you. Have a good night.